restoring Illinois to greatness. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute and hosted by AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Diana Rickert. She, of course, is the Vice President of Communications for the Illinois Policy Institute. You can read her musings once a month in the Chicago Tribune, where she offers a monthly column on the passing scene, Illinois-focused. Dan, I want to talk about this interesting op-ed that the Tribune wrote. In a sense, it's interesting. Only a sense. And the sense is the issue is personality politics. And they wrote this glowing piece about John Kasich. He was in town this past week on the campaign trail, as was Ben Carson and some others. And they essentially, the Tribune editorial board says John Kasich is the anti-Trump. Seems like everybody in the field is actually the anti-Trump candidate. But Kasich, they say, he's a straight talker. He's not bombastic. He's not necessarily Winston Churchill either. But he comes from an important state in Ohio. He's put together a decent record as governor, and he's kind of Midwestern nice and straightforward. It seems to me we often see media get very personality focused when it comes to candidates for office from the local level all the way up to the presidency of the United States, that it becomes a little bit of a school class president contest rather than who's got the best policy ideas and who has essentially the most courage to pursue those policy choices they said they would pursue if they were elected.
I agree. And it's not just big papers like the Chicago Tribune or the New York Times. It's all the way down to the community paper. Back when I was a reporter for one of the suburban papers here, I remember somebody wanted to run for school board, and the editorial board actually said, well, he's never even been on a committee, so I don't think he's qualified to be on the school board, as though you have to start with student council in grade school in order to ever qualify to be in politics. But what was so disturbing about this Tribune editorial was the Tribune backed Governor Rauner because he was an outsider. And then they wrote glowingly about John Kasich because he's an insider, because he knows the ropes. And I thought that showed their inconsistency a little bit. They're a great board. I like a lot of the people there. I like a lot of the work that they do. But in an era where we desperately need an outsider in Illinois, for some reason they thought that an insider might be the most personable, easy to get along kind of guy, and that somehow makes you qualified to lead the country. Yeah, well, and in Chicago, it's kind of a particularly virulent strain of this problem that you're describing, where the main qualification for doing something is that you've been doing it, regardless of your performance. Well, exactly. And, if I'm looking at the direction of even a state like Ohio, where Kasich just got rolled by the unions, or the rest of the country, whoever is doing the job now is obviously not doing a good job. It's very tough sell for me to vote for somebody who's an insider. I want to redound this to the local level in Illinois, state legislators, because you hear this all the time. I get involved in state legislative races. I know you do in your capacity as a private citizen as well. And you hear this all the time in areas that are kind of center-right but are represented by a very liberal Democrat. Oh, well, I know Carol Sente in Lincolnshire, and she's really nice. Oh, I know Marty Moylan in Des Plaines, and he's a nice guy. I see him riding his bike around. He stops by our little function at the park every summer. This is, to some extent, you can understand why politicians in the media is personality focused, because it seems like the voters are. Right. And, okay, what smart person would ever try to solicit business or vote from somebody else being mean? Right, so yes. To be nice is not a qualification for the job. They're conning you. That's what they're doing. Well, and also, too, people pretend like they actually know these people. I mean, and at the local level, you're going to know your legislator in a way that you don't know, the governor or even a member of Congress. But the idea that because they show up to an event and they're nice to you, as you suggest, that they don't come up there and kick your picnic table over and create a ruckus, that I know this person or that person, they're really nice, and so I'm sure they'll go to Springfield and do nice things. It turns out, though, they go to Springfield and do some very not nice things. Well, these things are all schemes generated by the campaigns anyways. Remember Hillary Clinton last week on Meet the Press, who said, I'm a human being, or Rahm Emanuel when he met with the Chicago Tribune editorial board on his budget. He said he had a headache. Does anybody have any Tylenol? Was that real, or was that an act to make him seem a little more human? And then they'll be like, oh, Rahm's just like the rest of us. The personality politics, it's politics. Like this, they're doing this as a ruse, like this just to sell themselves. Planned spontaneity. Yes, exactly.